They killed him.
Oh, Mum, these things you're saying, these terrible things, I believe you need a distraction. Yes, a distraction to calm this dire mood. It's been ages since we've had a proper family activity. Checkers, or perhaps charades. Oh, Sean does so love that game. Is the lad with you?
He's gone. God damn it. Someone took him. They stole my baby.
Worse than I thought. You're suffering from hunger-induced paranoia. Not eating properly for 200 years will do that, I'm afraid.
200 years? What? Are you sure?
A bit over 210, actually, Mum. It will take a little for the Earth's rotation and some minor dings to the old chronometer. That means you're 2 centuries late for dinner. Perhaps I can whip you up a snack. You must be famished.
Codsworth, you're acting a little weird. What's wrong?
Mum, it's been just horrible. 2 centuries with no one to talk to, no one to serve. I spent the first 10 years trying to keep the floors waxed, but nothing gets out nuclear fallout from vinyl wood. Oh, nothing. And don't get me started about the futility of dusting a collapsed house. And the car. How do you polish rust?
Stay with me, pal. Focus.
I'm afraid I don't know anything, Mum. The bombs came and all of you left in such a hurry. I thought for certain you and your family were dead. I did find this holotape. I believe Sir was going to present it to you as a surprise. But then, well, everything happened.
Thank you, Codsworth.
You're welcome. Now, enough feeling sorry for myself. Shall we search the neighborhood together? Sir and young Sean may turn up yet.
I don't know, Codsworth.
Follow me. Picking up hostile life, not this time. Real pain, you know. That about takes care of that. Here but a few flies. Wait. My senses are picking up movement in another house. Follow me. What's all the peekaboo? I never leave a task unfinished. I'll find you. Afraid you'll have to do better than that. Miss Jordan.
Codsworth.
Miss Jordan, Sir and young Sean, they aren't here.
Sean's out there, Codsworth. I need to find him.
What about Concord, Mum? A few people there. And last I checked, they only pummeled me with sticks a few times before I had to run back home.
I like these people already.
Oh, good. Maybe you'll get along then, and they can help you find young Sean. I shall remain here and secure the home front.
We want you to stop wasting money on deodorant that doesn't work. A lot of deodorants aren't actually stopping sweat, and they're leaving all this bacteria on your armpit. That's why you stink. Carpe is a quick-drying lotion that stops odor and sweat, which creates an environment where those bacteria can't grow as easily. And unlike some other brands that smell cheap, Carpe uses premium fragrances with ingredients like Italian bergamot, California lemon, and Brazilian rosewood. Don't waste your money on other brands. Right now, you can get Carpe for up to 56% off with free shipping. You're going to get to choose 4 scents, get free underarm antiperspirant wipes, a free sweat-absorbing face lotion, and a free mystery gift.
Say for the sake of argument, you're watching a political debate on TV. The conservative candidate has used their opening arguments to dump a truckload of dubious claims on their opponent. Now you recognize this maneuver. That's the Gish Gallop. The debater makes point after dubious point, and if the other debater doesn't rebut every single one, they will appear to have lost the argument. These points don't have to be good or hard to disprove, there just has to be a lot of them. Oh, but what's this? The Liberal candidate seems to have come prepared. That's new. They succinctly and efficiently dismantle each of their opponent's arguments, offering a clear rebuttal to every single one. It's obviously not the first time they've heard this particular gallop. So the Conservatives' petard has just fully hoisted them. They've lost their own game and have to go on the defensive. Right? Turns out, no. The Conservative points to a minor error. Maybe the Liberal said their program would cost $40 million, but is actually estimated to cost $43, and treats them as an ignorant sap who can't even count correctly. That is now the subject. Everything else has been forgotten, and the Liberal is backpedaling. Wait, you exclaim. How does that work? The Liberal has to rebut each and every point, but the Conservative takes issue with one and stays in the driver's seat? Are audiences fooled by this? Are Liberals that easily snookered? The answer may shock you. You've just borne witness to the reverse Gish Gallop, where an entire argument falls apart if any of it can be disputed. These disputes, again, don't have to be good. They just have to call the airtightness of the argument into question. So a good example of this is how conservatives obsess over gaffes, which, fucking, really? Guys? Some Democrat will be all, conservatives want to shut down post offices as a form of vote suppression. They're pushing voter ID laws, and the post office is where many people get their IDs, and we are relying more and more heavily on mail-in voting. They overwhelmingly try to shut down offices in Black and Latina neighborhoods. Also, a lot of services like healthcare and courts still use physical mail by default, and there can be serious consequences to getting it late. Many elderly people still don't use email, and hey, maybe some of them like getting junk mail. That's it. That's your whole life now. For the rest of your career, you're the asshole who said old people like junk mail. You see, your mistake was assuming that dishonest people abide by the same rules they impose on everyone else. When I was a teenager, some friends of the family would invite me along when they asked my
Hey, boy.
parents to dinner
What are you
because
doing out
I
here all
would
by
play with their
yourself?
5-year-old and let the grown-ups chat in peace. And
You
he'd
wanna
make
come
up
with me,
games where
pal?
we'd bat a balloon back and forth or whatever and change the rules on the fly when it suited him.
Okay, then.
Because the rule wasn't
Let's stick
actually,
together.
you can only touch the balloon once per turn. The rule was Andrew wins. The purpose of a Gish Gallop is to establish a narrative, not through argument or logic, but force and volume. Once established, it takes a lot less effort for them to maintain than for you to establish a new one. If they shake confidence in your argument, the audience will often revert to the previous argument, whether or not that one was ever proven. It's not about which story is true. It's about who sets the parameters for all stories going forward. Who got there first? This is not a debate. This is a Zerg rush. Understand that a dishonest argument is Lego. You haven't dismantled it until every single brick is separated. But an honest rebuttal? An honest rebuttal is Jenga.
There's so much more you can do about that. We've got 400 crew camps. Look at all that's happening. There's something here just for you. 4 degrees, certificates, and options for transfer. More value. Most students pay almost nothing. With 3 dozen student services, it's all here for you at Mount Sac.
U.S. General from Harbor Freight provides high-quality and advanced features at a fraction of the price. From roll cabs, carts, and accessories to tool organizers and part trays. Designed for everyone from the weekend mechanic to the accomplished technician. Integrated power.
I adore Edgar Wright's Cornetto trilogy. Flirted with making a video about it ages ago, had a draft of a script even, but ultimately decided it wasn't about anything except here's a thing I like, and here are its, I thought, very obvious themes. So I shelved it. But in the years since, I have seen multiple video essayists on this here website claim that these movies are about growing up and taking responsibility. I say multiple. It's not a lot, but it's more than one. That's enough. These people are 100% wrong. Let me lay it out. The Cornetto trilogy is not about growing up. It is not about taking responsibility. It is the exact opposite, and that's not subtext. It is 3 movies about stunted man children thrust into extraordinary circumstances, and each, in the end, is saved, is redeemed by abandoning his character arc and failing to grow or change. It is a 3-part love letter to immaturity. And I guess I have to set the record straight. Sometimes you make a video out of love, and sometimes you make a video out of spite. The Cornetto trilogy
able to
is
pick
3
this.
movies: Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. All 3 are written by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. Pegg stars, Wright directs. All 3 center on a relationship between Pegg and real-life best friend Nick Frost, which makes each film a reunion of the core team behind Spaced, excepting but for a small role in Shaun of the Dead, Jessica Hines. The 3 films span 3 genres: zombie apocalypse, buddy cop, alien invasion. And each features a Cornetto ice cream cone: strawberry to represent blood, original blue to represent the police, and mint to represent little green men. This is a joking nod to Krzysztof Kieslowski's Trois Couleurs films, Bleu, Blanc, and Rouge, which were based on the colors and themes of the French flag, and I don't care what you say, Emily, Team Rouge. That nod is funny because Trois Couleurs is high art drama, and these are comedies. All 3 are parodies of, tributes to, and actually surprisingly good executions of their respective book, the gag at the center of all these movies is that Simon Pegg plays a character wholly unsuited to be starring in this kind of film. Sean, Burnout, is the wrong person to survive the zombie apocalypse. By the book, British Bobby Nicholas is the wrong person to lead an American-style bombastic actioner. And alcoholic asshole Gary is the last person to save the world from aliens. And I think that's where people get stuck. 'Cause Schlub finds himself protagonist of a genre film is the elevator pitch for like a dozen Adam Sandler movies. You know, the genre trappings may be as mundane as Parenthood or state-mandated anger management classes, or as high concept as action movie Whodunit or time travel It's a Wonderful Life if Clarence were Christopher Walken as the Angel of Death. That makes it sound good. It's not. Don't see Click. Leave Frank Capra alone, Adam. But all these movies have the same basic shape. An extraordinary situation forces a guy to confront his shortcomings, which always stem from having never grown up.
Don't think I can
And you
pick
probably
this.
haven't seen all of these movies, but if you've seen any, I bet you have assumptions about how the rest end. I mean, even though Adam Sandler acts like a child is generally the selling point of an Adam Sandler movie, they all end with some lip service towards becoming an adult. Hey man, grow up a bit. Appreciate your family a little more. Square your shoulders. Clean your room. This is so standard it was parodied mercilessly in Funny People.
That movie's the best because you're a man and you're a baby and you learn to be a man. Once you it takes becoming a baby to become a man.
And this was a formative microgenre for my generation. You know, whole universe turns itself upside down to teach some shitty dude to like do the dishes, pay his wife a compliment once in a while. Liar Liar, Bruce and Evan Almighty, all directed by the same guy, by the way. So I don't blame people of a certain age for seeing the first act of Shaun of the Dead and thinking, I know where this is going. And when at the last minute it swerves and goes someplace else, you could read that as, you know, just a gag, a final subversion of expectation, but still the same basic shit. But no! Once is a gag, but thrice is a thematic statement. So let me make my case. I'm gonna take you through these movies one by one. We'll talk about the man-children and the expectations set by the genre, and then we'll talk about that last-minute swerve and what it means. And then you'll tell me I'm right. And apologize. Sean is a man in his 20s. What kind of man-child is he? He's the slacker. What's his problem?
Sort your fucking life out, mate!
Sean doesn't know how to take action. He hasn't advanced. Fucking video games. They made dozens of people miserable for years over video games. Not even fucking video games. Fucking articles about fucking video games. This is what happens to legitimate grievance. Are you kidding me with this shit? Hi, my name is Ian Mansfield. I'm a video essayist, media artist. I run the YouTube channel Video Studios. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm here to talk to you about Gamergate, and I needed to get all of that out of the way. I'm going to talk about what Gamergate was and how it prefigured the alt-right, and there are going to be moments where you're nodding along with me, going like, yeah, I get it. And then the sun's going to break through a crack in the wall, and you'll suddenly remember that all this is happening because some folks, mostly ladies, said some stuff, provably true stuff I might add, about video games. And a bunch of guys didn't like it. And you're going to want to rip your hair out. By the end of this, you'll have a better understanding of what happened, but it will never not be bullshit. Also, oh my god, content warning, racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, homophobia, transphobia, rape threats, threats of violence, domestic abuse. I'm not going to depict or describe at length any of the worst stuff, but it's all in the mix. So if at any point you need to switch me off or mute me, you have my blessing. Brace yourselves. So some quick prehistory. In 2012, feminist media critic Anita Sarkeesian ran a Kickstarter campaign for a YouTube series on sexist tropes in video games. Partway through the campaign, 4chan heard it and said, what if we ruined her life? And a lot of the male general gaming public joined in. And by ruin her life, I'm not just talking 150 angry tweets, including dozens of rape and death threats per week, though that was a thing. I'm talking bomb threats. I'm talking violence because someone threatened to shoot up a school. I'm talking FBI investigation. The harassers faced no meaningful repercussions. And in 2013, Zoe Quinn released Depression Quest, a free text game about living with depression. They received harassment off and on for the next year, most pointedly from an incel forum called Wizard Chan that doxed their phone number and made harassing phone calls telling them to kill themselves. The harassers faced no meaningful consequences. Also, a quick note, Zoe Quinn is non-binary and has come out since the events in question, so when I call Zoe's harassment misogynist, understand I'm not calling Zoe a woman, but they were attacked by people who hate women because that's how they were perceived. Had they been out at the time, things probably would have gone down similarly, like Gatorade was not going to respect their pronouns, but on top of misogyny, I would also be talking about, like, envy, erasure, and transphobia. Okay. So our story begins in August 2014. The August that never ended. Depression Quest, after a prolonged period on Greenlight, finally releases on Steam as a free download with the option to pay when you want. And in the days that follow, Zoe's ex-boyfriend Uric Yoni writes a nearly 10,000-word blog called The Zoe Post, in which he claims Quinn had been a shitty and unfaithful partner. For reference, 10,000 words is long enough that the Hugos would consider it a novelette. This is posted to forums on Penny Arcade and Something Awful, both of which immediately take it down, finding it at best a lot of toxic hearsay, and at worst an invitation to harassment. So Yoni workshops the post, adds an extra I'm using the word humor very generously, and reposts it to sub-forums on 4chan. We're not going to litigate whether Zoe Quinn was a good partner. I don't know, and I don't care. I don't think anyone on this call is trying to date them, so I don't see how it's our business. What is known is that the relationship lasted about 5 months, and after it ended, Yoni began stalking Quinn. Yoni has, in fact, laid out how he stalked Quinn in meticulous detail in interviews, and why he feels it was justified. It's also been corroborated by a friend that Quinn briefly considered taking him at the Games Conference in San Francisco, but he became violent during sex, and Quinn left the apartment in the middle of the night with visible bruises. The abusive ex-boyfriend's post, 4chan decides it's going to make Quinn one of their next big targets, and sets up a private IRC channel to plan the campaign. The channel is called Burgers and Fries, a reference to Yoni claiming Quinn had cheated on them with 5 guys. A couple of sentences in the Zoe post, which Yoni would later claim were a typo, implied one of the 5 guys was games journalist Nathan Grayson, and that Quinn had slept with him in exchange for a good review of Depression Quest.
Man, I don't know who you
Given
are.
the anger that they'd seen drummed up against women in games with the previous Anita Sarkeesian hate mob, Burgers and Fries decides to focus on this breach of ethics in games journalism as a cover story.
Sure thing.
Many of them howling with laughter at the thought that male gamers would probably
just as soon as we're out of this mess.
This way, destroying Quinn's life and career and turning their community against them would appear to be an unfortunate byproduct of a legitimate consumer revolt.
You all right?
Criticism of the harassment could even be framed as a distraction from the bigger issue. Yoni himself is in the IRC channel telling them that this was the best hand to play.
That's my business.
The stated aim of many on Burgers and Fries was to convince Quinn to commit suicide.
A month ago, there were 20
regulars
of
in the IRC, YouTubers
Yesterday, there were 8.
and Internet Aristocrat, make videos about the Zoe post. Incidentally, both of these men had already made a lot of money off of videos about Anita Sarkeesian.
Tough break.
Mats is swiftly taken down with the DMCA claim, which he says Quinn filed against him themselves. For the record, in those days, YouTube didn't actually tell you who filed DMCA claims against you.
There's a crashed vertibird up on the roof.
Members of the IRC also reached out to YouTuber Total Biscuit, who had been critical and dismissive of Anita Sarkeesian in the past, and he tweeted the story to his